So, the Tema War arc in the Tensura Light novel is wrapping up pretty quickly, and it seems that Rimuru is about to face Ivarage next when he's done helping Gi rein Velzad back. The thing I want to discuss today is Rimuru versus Ivarage, and I've been seeing a lot of people talking about how Rimuru is going to devour Ivarage in the next volume 23 of the Light novel, and I just don't see that happening. It wouldn't follow because the theme of Tensura is balance, and I feel like Ivarage, especially being the other half that Veldanava came from, right? There's Veldanava on one half and then Ivarage on the other half. Ivarage representing destruction and then Veldanava representing creation, right? And so I just don't think that Rimuru is just going to devour Ivarage and then just destroy that balance. I don't feel like it makes sense. The theme doesn't suggest it. Of course, the theme of the Tema War arc is, has the world produced anyone who can or who will surpass Veldanava, the creator god? You can see this a lot in the dialogue, right? Characters like Zelanos, who talk about how his ambition since he was created, since he gained sentience, right, intelligence, was to surpass Veldanava. And Dagro, you can also see that in his conversation with Shion and Luminous, talking about how when he was created, he always wanted to defeat Veldanava and prove that he has surpassed him, right? So there are a lot of other things, and also Twilight Valentine. He also talks about how he also wanted to kill Veldanava and become a god slayer, surpassing the creator, right? But all of these people, they've been neutralized by other people, and it's all because the theme of the story is surpassing Veldanava, and I just don't feel like defeating or killing somebody who is the strongest is the key to that. I don't think that's what the theme of the story is about. I feel like to surpass Veldanava, you have to do what Veldanava couldn't, and one of the things that Veldanava couldn't do was to get Ivarage on board with, creation. He allowed Ivarage to exist ever since time was established, right, in the Tensura World. And it seems that inability of Veldanava to get Ivarage to come on board, that's the thing that we need, or that anybody who wants to surpass Veldanava needs to do to be able to actually surpass Veldanava. That's the qualifying condition. If you are not able to do it, then you are dropping out of the race. So even though we have so many front runners for those who are going to surpass Veldanava, only one person comes to mind, and that person is Rimuru. Now Rimuru, he's already on his way because, number one, he's making the world more interesting, right? He has allowed a lot of people to tap into their potential, to use their talents, to awaken, right? So Rimuru is already on his way by allowing the world to be populated by a lot of intelligent beings that are able to become more competent and more reliable, and making the world move forward. That's one of the conditions as well to surpass Veldanava. Veldanava couldn't do that. All he could do was wait for the angels to become sentient, to have intelligence and other things. At first, all they could do was just do what they were told to do. But now, the angels are also becoming more intelligent. They have free will, right? When Rimuru has entered into the world, he's able to allow monsters, creatures that ordinarily wouldn't be able to make their own decisions. All they believed in is brutality and being brutish, right? And all of them are evolving, awakening, becoming more intelligent. They are going beyond the survival of the fittest mentality of the jungle, right? So we already see that Rimuru has been a positive factor for good in the world, and so the world is becoming more interesting, which aligns with what Veldanava wanted but couldn't achieve on his own, right? And so I feel like the next step for Rimuru is to not to defeat Ivarage, or not to eliminate Ivarage, or even to predate Ivarage and acquire his power. I don't feel like it makes sense thematically, because the theme of the story, which is to surpass, has anybody surpassed Veldanava in this world? Has the world produced somebody who can surpass Veldanava, or who has surpassed Veldanava? Rimuru is the front runner, right? And so I feel like for Rimuru to accomplish that that target of surpassing Veldanava, instead of just killing or devouring Ivarage, it is more thematically consistent. If Rimuru is able to fend off Ivarage's attack, right, instead of just devouring Ivarage, right, it makes more sense for Rimuru to fend it off, to defend against it, to block it, to neutralize it or whatever, and then convince Ivarage that his rampage of destruction should end here, because the world is not going to hell. The world is moving forward in a positive direction, right? And let me just say this: Ivarage is a being of distraction. So if the world is not going to hell, then he doesn't have a part to play. And since he's the half of the original being that Veldanava splits from, right? So he's half of the original, and then Veldanava is the other half. It makes more sense that Rimuru and the other demon lords and the other transcendents in the world, right, the Cardinal World, who want to preserve the world order, or let's say the people who are aligned with the mediators of the world appointed by Veldanava, Gi, Milim, Veldora, Rimuru, Velzad, all of them, they are one handle of the balance. Then the other balance falls on Ivarage. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So like, it's in a way, it is like they are keeping a balance. One person alone, that is Ivarage, is like he's the entire basis of distraction. And meanwhile, the rest of the world, which has produced the strong people, the transcendents, the demon lords and the heroes, they are on the other hand. So it is like the world versus one destroyer. I think that's one way to think about the Ivarage arc. And so it doesn't make sense for Rimuru to absorb Ivarage and then destroy that balance, because Tensura isn't about destroying balance. It's not really about that. It is more about making the world more interesting, right? Making the balance do what the balance is supposed to do, instead of just destroying it outright. And so I feel like it wouldn't make sense for Fuse to write Rimuru destroying the balance outright. That's why I feel like Ivarage is going to survive this arc and will only be fended off. And if possible, and optimally of course, Ivarage will be convinced to integrate into society, to integrate into the world, to not seek his immediate distraction, right? He's supposed to be evolving into a more intelligent being. And yes, of course, he has a grudge against Veldanava, but I think that's what's going to be like settled in this war arc. That's what Ivarage needs to do.